Midwest. You can't tell by all of the snow. I'm house sitting for 2 weeks over Thanksgiving and then heading back to Indy to celebrate the rest of the holidays with my family. So I will be gone from Los Angeles for over a month. And at first, that was very, very scary. And I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it. But then I decided to look at, especially these 2 weeks, house sitting in a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere when it was supposed to snow, as a retreat. I loved the idea of being forced to stop and have a little bit of a reset. I'm trying not to get on social media. I'm using this time to read a lot. I'm gonna sneeze. And do some writing, and of course watching lots of movies. I am taking care of some pets while I'm here, so that does take up some time, and I'm still working during normal working hours, but I have so much time off for Thanksgiving that I'm really just trying to, I'm gonna sneeze again. Indulge in the peace and quiet in a way that I don't necessarily get to do in LA. I still love LA, to be clear. I am going back and very excited to be going back. I just think, like anyone's life, it's a lot easier to step away from your normal, maybe bad habits. I'm gonna sneeze again. When you're away from your normal routines and spaces, when I'm bored in LA, there's a whole city of things to go explore. And here, I'm quite literally I've been snowed in all weekend. And I've had to redirect my energy into finishing books before the end of the year and doing some writing and such things. And so I really enjoyed it so far. I'm about a week in. I've taken a lot of these clips throughout my first week. So anyways, here are a couple things that I have been reading while I've been here so far. On the plane here, I started reading Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which is the 5th book in the Hunger Games series. I reread the first 3 for the first time this year since high school. Like many people my age, those books meant a lot to me, and as I've gotten older, they've only become more brilliant. I think Suzanne Collins was really, really on to something, and she's only become even more wise and intelligent as I've grown up, but also as the country has continued to do what it is doing. And I wanted to revisit them because I never read the 4th book. I saw the movie, of course, and really liked it, but I never read the 4th book, and Haymitch was, like many people, my favorite character. It was Peeta, Finnick, and Haymitch when I read them in junior high. And so the idea of this book being all about him was very intriguing to me, and especially since they were immediately running this movie into production, I wanted to read the book first. So I started reading it on the plane, and I think I should have seen this coming, but I started crying in the first chapter because I think you know from the original trilogy that everyone in Haymitch's life is killed, and that he's alone and purposefully is alone by his own creation because of the punishments that the Capitol has put on him. And so you're reading about young 16-year-old Haymitch and his sass and all of these things, but he's surrounded by all of these people and these characters that you immediately love for him, because you just, like, I just loved his character so much that to see him, like, have people around him was like so heartwarming, but also so heartbreaking at the same time, because you know that none of them make it. And so I started weeping immediately within the first chapter. Started that one on the plane and then have continued to read it. I've been taking my time with that one. I'm about halfway through right now, so I'm sure I'll finish it before I leave here. And dare I say, this is the best book of the series yet. I wasn't expecting that, just because it's so hard when the first 3 books were so iconic, but also like it's hard to find a book later in a series that you think is the best book, but it also makes sense because she has spaced them out over time so much, that she would be a better writer now than she was when she wrote the first book. And there's just something about this 5th book, and maybe that's also like because all of the foreshadowing and pulling in characters from the original trilogy that we've only seen as adults. Maybe all of those things attribute to it, but I really feel like, at least so far, this is the best book of the series. I don't know that it will be my favorite book, because I think that still has to be either Catching Fire or Mockingjay for me, but it's so well done, so well done. I also got way more into audiobooks this year. But especially on this trip, I have been doing a lot of dog walking, and so I've needed something to listen to because I get bored. I get bored on walks. I just do. And so I've been doing audiobooks. So first I listened to The Life of Chuck by Stephen King. This is a novella, I would say, technically. I know it was originally part of a short story collection. Is it a novella? Anyway, they turned it into a movie this year. And by they, I mean Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan made The Haunting of Hill House for Netflix, as well as many other series. But The Haunting of Hill House is, I think, like the best TV show of all time. And I attribute a lot to it, not just because I think it's so well done, but because it got me to read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. And then that is the book that set me off on getting back into reading as an adult. So I was very interested in anything that Mike Flanagan was doing. Went to go see it, had the pleasure of going to a Q&A with him, Tom Hiddleston, and Chiwetel Ejiofor, which was a lovely Q&A. And it is a weird movie, but I love the concept of it, especially the concept, if you've seen it, of the first 2 acts, where, spoilers, the world is ending in the first act, but in the second act you learn that it is the theoretical world inside of a man's head, and the man is dying of cancer, and so as he is dying, the world is ending. I think it is attributed largely in the book and also the movie, I think, to the Walt Whitman quote about containing multitudes. And so I listened to this novella while on walks. Stephen King still just doesn't totally work for me. It's specifically his writing style and how he describes things. But I obviously love the ideas that he comes up with. So I enjoyed that. Then I started listening to Time of Your Life by Jessa Hastings. I read her Magnolia Parks series this year, enjoyed some of them, didn't enjoy others of them. I'm very confused by how I feel about that series, but as a whole, really enjoyed it, and then continued to read The Conditions of Will right afterward. And so this is the 7th book that I've read by her this year, and unfortunately it was by far my least favorite. She, for the most part, writes toxic romances, and I have never been into that before, but there was something about her characterizations that just really worked for me. And what I learned in The Time of Your Life is that toxic romances don't work when you don't like the characters. When you like the characters and they just can't quite figure their relationship out, it's frustrating, but you are rooting for something because you know that they have it within them. I strongly disliked both main characters in The Time of Your Life, but especially the male main character. And so I just wasn't rooting for them to figure it out. Then I started listening to The Other Side of Now by Paige Harbison. I am about 60% of the way through this one. It is a magical realism contemporary novel about a woman who has supposedly chased and gotten all of her dreams. She is a famous actress living in LA. She has a famous boyfriend. She is beautiful and wealthy, and of course not quite happy. In this world, her best friend has also passed away, and when she runs away to find herself on a little vacation, she finds that she has fallen into another version of her life that she could have lived. One where she lives in Ireland and has a serious on and off again boyfriend and beautiful friends, and most importantly, one where her best friend is still alive. And she can't quite figure out why she supposedly wasn't happy in this life. And it seems that because she never got to chase her dreams, she feels like she didn't realize something that she wanted for herself when she was younger. So I've really enjoyed this so far. As I talked about last year, I think maybe 2 years ago, the magical realism thing works for me. I am still not a huge fantasy person, but something about it being like just accepted in real life is interesting to me, and I like not having to learn like magic systems or anything like that. So I'm really enjoying this one so far. It's very sweet, and although I think the story is probably pretty unsurprising, I guess, it still has been very sweet, and I really like the way that she narrates.